See the signs, I've seen them once before. But who I am ain't working anymore. I live my life just running from the pain, on a course I couldn't sustain. Yeah, I think it's time to change. 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 Looking back at the man I used to be, I was lost, just drifting out to sea. I was locked up deep inside my head, until I looked in the mirror and said, yeah, I think
hey guys,
it's time
welcome back to Sweet Recovery, and this is a benefit for Josh Rowe, dedicated to Josh Rowe, where just a bunch of us all around the U.S. are getting together to show their love, and also a fundraiser for Josh and his recovery. We have Josh and his mom, Donna, here today. We were lucky to be able to have an interview with them, and I would like to begin by saying, Josh, you are such a special part of the Bowery Vault. You've been playing here for, what do you think, a couple of years?
Yeah.
You've been to other people's shows here. You support the original music scene like no one else does, and we almost lost you. And what happened, Josh?
It was December 30th. It was the day before New Year's Eve, and I was out just trying to make rent money. You know, it's right now, you know, I've been Ubering as my day job for the last couple of years, and it's allowed me to have the flexibility to really follow my passion and my dream to be a musician and do what I love to do. And so, you know, it was just a normal night. I was just out, you know, trying to make rent money and trying to just, you know, I didn't have all the rent money at that time, but I knew the next day was New Year's Eve, and I'd be able to make it. And so anyway, I just, you know, that day I got up, and it was a good day. I'd worked out, and I had done my meditation, and I had worked on my music that day. You know, I've been working on the next record. You know, as an artist, you just keep working. You know, you don't stop. And so, about that time, I'd been doing Uber in the evenings to pay the bills. And
Like, what's your shift times?
it's, you know, I've been, you know, I like to get up in the morning and work out and stay disciplined. And so normally you know, about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, I'd get out and start Ubering, and usually I do that for, you know, 5 or 6 hours, depending, you know, and during the week. And then the weekends I would do, you know, I'd work a lot harder on the weekends, but you know, so that way I could have the middle of the day when I'm fresh to create and make music. And so it was just a normal day. I went and got my car washed, and I got my first ride of the day. I took some ladies up in West Nashville, and took them just a few miles closer into downtown. And before I dropped them off, I got a ping for the next ride, and so I dropped the ladies off and headed to the next place. And you know, little did I know that it would be the ride that changed my life. And so I picked this gentleman up. Now we know he was an 18-year-old male. Picked him up, and you know, I didn't think anything of it. You know, it was a warm night, so I just made some small talk with him. On the Uber app, it said his name was Brandon, so I thought, "You're Brandon?" Yeah. I picked him up, and you know, it was a short ride. And I said, I said it's warm tonight. I like to make small talk. I like people to.
Because you are the friendliest person.
I try to be, I try, because everybody's my brother and sister, and I feel like we're all part of a family. And not everybody likes to talk when I pick them up, but I always like to put it out there that I'm willing to talk and listen, and I just said, it's a warm night tonight, I said, yeah, and I said, I think it's going to rain a little bit, just small talk, and it was a short ride, and we only went a few, maybe like a mile or two, and so when we got close to where you wanted to drop him off, he just said, just drop me off here in the corner, and so as soon as I put the car in park, he shot me in the head, and didn't ask me for my car or my phone or anything, any money. I mean, I didn't even know he had a gun. I just parked the car, and next thing you know, I was shot. And by the grace of God, I just quickly unbuckled my. Did you say something?
No.
I just quickly unbuckled my seatbelt, and I flung open the door, and I just ran, and I didn't look back.
Was he chasing you? Because I think what a lot of people are thinking, how did you, manage to get out of the car? And I heard that he stole the car and your wallet,
Yeah.
so, I didn't know if he said get out of the car.
It just happened so quick. I didn't even, honestly, I just left. I didn't worry about the car. At that moment, it was just like, it was just.
Did you know what happened? Did you feel it?
I did. I looked, as soon as he shot me, I looked over and I saw the driver glass cracked, and I was like,
oh my God.
It was like, I was in shock. I don't know at that moment, I really processed it all. It's just.
Did you feel it?
I did. I still hear, the first thing I really remember, because it was like, first of all, I didn't know he had a gun. I didn't know it was a shot. So it's just like, I went out for a second, and I came to, and I just woke up with this intense flu feeling, and I heard, I could hear this ring in my ear, and I still feel that. I still feel that same ring. I hear that. That's never stopped. And I just ran, and I just let. And at that point, it was just like, it wasn't my time, and it was just survive and to see you all again. I didn't feel like it was it. I didn't see the white light. I just.
So you were on survival mode.
Yeah, it was they say flight or fight, and
yeah.
I ran. I ran in the best direction I could have ran. If I would have ran, I was on Harmon Street when I dropped him off, and if I'd have ran either direction on Harmon Street, I wouldn't have got help. I ran down 18th Avenue and down a hill. I didn't have to put as much energy climbing. I ran down a hill, and I ran right to where help was, and I did, right to it. I really sat and think, I ran right into help.
So you said yesterday you were talking about some breathing courses. Josh, I don't know how you started that, why you wanted to start these breathing courses, but you did this 6 months ago,
right.
And you said that right when this happened. This is crazy. That I know that a lot of this, with what Donna said, that the doctor said that God must have guided that bullet because it didn't hit any nerves, it didn't hit his spine. It did mess you up a lot because it shattered a lot of your nose and stuff.
Yeah, every bone in my body's broken. My face is broken, and I have this pretty much my left side is paralyzed. and I can't hear all this ear, and I have no, there's a light.
But with this whole breathing thing, which this is really important, not only he's sharing this tragic thing that happened, but I need our viewers to really pay attention to this, because God forbid this happens to anyone. What Josh decided to do, what was something that was innate in him because he had learned it not too long ago, really helped save his life.
Yeah.
And you said that as soon as you got shot, you were feeling around to see where the wound was, and that you started some breathing exercises.
Right.
And that made your heartbeat go down to what, Donna?
So when the night that Josh was shot, he wears a Fitbit all the time, and he's able to keep track of his heart rate and his sleep patterns and all of that. And we were able to go back and look at his Fitbit, the history, and the moment that he got shot, his heart rate went up to 120. And what he told me was, Mom, I just started running, and when he found the gentleman at the little place that he ran to, they were closing the gate at that time of night, which was unusual for them to still be open. And he asked for help, and they were a little freaked out because here's a man coming at them screaming and bleeding out of his head. And they said, we don't come here, but we'll call 911, because they didn't know what to do. Most people wouldn't. And so they told him just lay down, and he said he thought, okay, he found somebody. He knew he was going to get help. So he said he laid down, and he saw the blood just gushing, just rolling down, just gushing out of his head, and he knew it was coming from that part of his body. He said he put his hands on his neck, just started there, trying to feel where the blood was coming from. And as he went up, he felt the bullet holes, and he put pressure. He said, I at that point, I thought, I have to save myself. And he put the pressure on his head, on the bullet wounds, to help stop and slow down the bleeding. And he laid there, and he said he closed his eyes, and he just started using the technique that he had learned to breathe and slow his heart rate down. And according to the Fitbit, the data's there, when he got shot, his heart rate went up to 120. And at that moment, when you could see where he calmed himself down, and his heart rate went down to 48, which is probably, when your heart's thumping and beating, it's just, pumping more blood. And the fact that he was able to slow that down, slow the bleeding down enough to where help could get to him, and then being, that it was a mile from Vanderbilt, they got there pretty quickly. And he said when he saw them come, the EMT, he said he knew that he was going to be okay at that moment. Still not knowing what really had happened, but he never lost consciousness. So he knew enough. He had the wherewithal. And I've been in healthcare for 30 years, and my daughter and I have talked about it. I think I would have just laid on the ground and screamed till I bled out. But he had the wherewithal, and all the training he had been doing for the last 5 months, 6 months, just helped him survive.
This is so important for all of us to know. So just with this, I think that a lot of people hopefully can retain that, God forbid anything happens. Just anything really, panic attacks, I'm sure we've all been getting them, I've been getting them, and just learning how to breathe and getting out of that tunnel vision of I'm dying. I know it's the hardest thing. I mean, I don't know how you managed to keep your calm, but obviously, you believe in breathing.
Oh yeah.
And you were strong enough to believe that you were going to get through this, and that makes you an incredibly strong-willed person, because fear is no joke, And I mean, that's when, like you said, the blood starts pumping, and you can lose blood, and as much as you want to survive, you're not helping yourself by freaking out and hyperventilating.
Right.
And it seems like you did all the right stuff, and you were able to, you went to Vanderbilt, you said, and you were there alone.
Yeah.
You didn't have your wallet with you, Josh.
Yeah.
You didn't have your car. No one knew.
I was John Doe for a while.
You were John Doe for how long?
Probably, I was able to write on some paper, but they didn't know how to get a hold of my parents. It wasn't until the next day that I asked one of the nurses in the ICU if anybody had Facebook, and I started sending messages to my sister, my mom, my dad, my brother-in-law. I said, "Hi, this is Josh. I'm been shot, I didn't want to be. I know I couldn't imagine what, how they would have seen that, because, I wanted them to know that I was there. Nowadays we don't have. Nobody remembers their mom's cell phone number. I know my number because I've had it for so long, but we don't know numbers because of our phone. So and my wallet was my phone. I have a wallet case, so everything was on that phone, and so I was just so grateful to see my family. That was the best. I love that was the best thing, just to have my family again, and I just when I was there on the ground, just holding on to life. They kept me going because I just. Our family's been through a lot, just like everyone else's family has this year, and I just, I wasn't going to let another tragedy happen to this family, and I'm just so grateful to God that He gave us a miracle, and He made a way for me to survive and see to live another day and be with y'all, and I'm just so grateful, and it's just a blessing every day. I just feel every prayer, everything. I feel everybody's prayers and love that's coming to me. I've never felt this. I'm a person that it's hard for me to receive love, and it's hard for me to be vulnerable like this. I want to be the one that heals, and I just want everybody to know that I felt every prayer, every love, every good thing that's been sent out to me. I feel it, and I'm just so grateful. And it's just, I'm thank you.
For a mother to be waking up or whatever you were doing, and getting a phone call from a hospital, what was that experience like?
So we had just celebrated Christmas and had a great time. For the first time ever, the entire family, I had my children, my grandchildren, my mom. We had my son-in-law, we were at his house, his mom, his family, his siblings, it was just a beautiful, because, we've had, like Josh said, a lot of tragedy. My husband passed away in August, suddenly, and then my son-in-law, who's where we're staying now, his mom's, got terminal cancer, so, we just had a lot going on this year, and we all decided we were going to hit the reset button. We were excited, 2021 was coming, and, Josh and I had planned to watch the Ohio State Clemson game. We had a date, we were going to do that, New Year's Day, and just excited. And my daughter had left that morning to take the grandkids to their friends, and I was down in the basement just getting ready for the day, getting excited. I just taken a new job in South Carolina, and just happy. It was like a new lease on life. And I get a phone call, and it was a 615 number, and I had a 772 number, so does Josh. I knew that was Nashville, and so a lot of times my son-in-law will call me and it shows up not him, but it's a 615 number. But I answered it, and it was a person said, "Hello, my name is," and I'm the case manager at Vanderbilt's trauma unit. "We have a patient here that we think might be related to you." And I'm like, "Yes." She said, "Do you know a Joshua Rowe?" And I said, "Yes, I do. He's my son." She said, "Well, he has been shot in the head, and she said at that point stable, but all I heard is he's been shot in the head." And I started screaming for my son-in-law, "Adam, Adam." And he ran down, and I said, "It's Josh, he's been shot in the head." And he's like, "What?" And so the phone, we like this, putting her on speakerphone, and she's, Adam, I at that point couldn't breathe. So he started gathering information, and I didn't hear anything else, and I just was trying to throw some clothes on and just screaming, no, you can't have my baby, you can't take him. And so we got there, and you're just in a panic. They have very restricted visiting hours, and we get into the hospital, and of course I get to go in first, and I walked in, and here he is. He's intubated. The tube's breathing for him, but he's awake. And when he saw me, you could just see the mommy, and he was like, like this, and I was looking for a piece of paper and a pen, because I didn't know what to expect. At that point, I didn't know he got shot in the head. I didn't know if his jaw would be gone. I didn't know if his friends would be there. Anything.
But they said that he was
shot in the head.
But that
he was
alive.
He was alive. He was stable.
Okay. All right.
So but he was in the trauma and been shot in the head, and So I walk in and didn't know what I was going to see. Of course, at that point, he was still just a bloody mess, intubated, and his eyes was like this, and he was like, he gave me thumbs up, and at that point it was like, I just wanted to go, you just, at that point, I just wanted to lose it, but I couldn't, because he was, I couldn't do that for Josh's sake. So he started writing, and he said, "I love you, Mom." And then the next thing he wrote was, "I forgive him." And I'm like, well, that's awesome, Josh. Mama Bear's not there yet, but the fact that was the second thing, I love you, Mom, and I forgive him, speaks to who he is, his character. And, to see your baby, and, I've always told him, he is my baby, not a baby, but he's my baby, because we had an issue with that several years ago. I'm not a baby, Mom. I'm like, I know, but you're my baby. And he's my baby. And to see your child, your son, your heartbeat laying there, somebody hurt. At that point, we had no idea what happened. We didn't know what happened. I didn't know if his car had been, we knew nothing. And nobody was giving us any information. He was a no information patient. Any person who was injured or shot, part of a crime, they'd give you no information. And so we were still just trying to piece together what had happened. And, we know at that point, Josh said, I said, "Josh, did they take your car?" And he said, yes. He shook his head, yes. And I said, "Was your phone in the car?" And he said, yes. And, there were 2 bags of all of his belongings were sitting there in the room that you couldn't really make out what it was. And he had told me, he said, "Mom," he was writing it down. He couldn't talk, but he said, "All I care about," he says, "I've got a cross that I wore that a friend of mine made me 15 years ago back up in Findlay, Ohio, when he was working up there." And he said, "Do you know if they found it?" He said, "That's all I care about." And I said, I don't know, honey. I said, "But I'll look." And I got to take his stuff home second day, and he said, "I hate to bother you, but will you please?" He said, "That's all I care about. Please look for that cross." Well, my husband, like I told you, had passed away, and Josh told me, he said, Mark was with me. He said, God and Mark, he said, helped me. And I said, "Well, did you see them?" He said, "I didn't." He said, "But I felt them." And he had Mark's jacket on. It's sort of a little fleece jacket that he wears, when it's cold. He had that on. And, when I brought the stuff home, I took it down the basement because I didn't want the grandkids to see everything, because it was pretty bad.
He had on Mark's jacket.
He did, the night that he got shot. And so I had 2 bags, and I said, "Lord, help me find that. That's because nothing else was salvageable." And I thought, I'm going to go. I made out that I could tell that was Mark's jacket. So I went to that bag first, and I pulled out his jacket, which had been cut. But as I pulled it out, that cross necklace fell out of that jacket.
Oh.
And it's a little blood stained. I tried to clean it as best I could. But it's kind of appropriate. It's blood stained just like the cross. And And I cleaned it and I took it back, and he's had it with him ever since, and that was meaningful. And I think God's everywhere. People don't believe because they see. People see because they believe, and we believe that. I believe Mark was there, and I believe that God was there, and I believe that Josh is here today. Multiple reasons. He kept his calm. He, all of those things, and when we went in for surgery, before surgery, the docs came in and they were talking to us, and after surgery, the surgeon, Dr. Sharma, he took me in because I had to be by myself, and took me into a room and told me what they had done and how well Josh did, and I said, well, people are praying for you all over the world. I just want to let you know. And I said, thank you for saving. He was the doctor that was there with Josh the night he came in, and I said, it's a miracle that he survived. He said, I was there that night, and he said, Josh shouldn't be here today. And he said, I see this, and he said, it is a miracle. And he said to me, and then he leaned in, he said, you need to understand. He said that God's hand, and he did his hand like this, guided that bullet through his head. He said that is so vascular, and there's so many nerves through where that bullet passed. There's no way that it was divine intervention, because it didn't hit anything. His brain, his vocal cords,
It didn't hit his vocal cords?
Nothing. Didn't hit anything. It just, you can't design it.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's, before he went into surgery, he couldn't move his mouth, but he tried to sing to me, and I said, you still have your vibrato, so that was pretty cool. But they shook their heads. The anesthesiologist came out, and she said, we all just looked and said, what are we looking at here? It was just such a miracle. And you know what? We said, the world needs a miracle. They need to see that, through all the stuff that's going on in the world, what happened in Nashville, Christmas Day, we've got a miracle here, and miracles still happen.
We need to start believing again.
We do. We still believe in miracles.
Oh
Yeah.
I'm sitting beside one.
I've always believed in miracles, but it's just been such a dark year
Yes.
that, I just wish it never happened to you, Josh.
Maybe it's, if anything come out of this, I just hope that good can come out of it, it's not, nobody wants to get shot in the head, but, I see there's got to be a silver lining to this, and I think already I think, forgiveness has been really in my spiritual journey, like before this, I've learned how to forgive. I've held a lot of grudges against, people in my past and even people in my family, and this year, I've let go of a lot of things, and I'm happier because of it. And this man that shot me, we found the guy that did it, but I'm not out for vengeance, and I'm not, I know that's not going to serve anything, not going to serve myself, and it's I forgive this man, and I hope that he gets help, and I hope that he finds recovery as I find recovery, because that's really what I want. I found that when I forgive, I have peace in my heart.
Yeah.
There's two families that are impacted by this.
Yeah.
Really, that I almost lost my son, and their son's going to go away for a long time. And, when we found out that he was young, and, it broke our hearts, because, well, we're going to live with this for the rest. It's going to be our reality. It's going to be theirs as well. Yeah. And, forgiveness, we've always said in our family, it's a one-man show. You forgive not because they ask you to, but because that's what you need to do for your healing. And, Josh and I talked about this almost every day since this happened, and he says, Mom, I truly forgive him. He said, it's not just, he said, I really do. And, it just blesses my heart that, when you raise children, you just hope that, you know, you did a good job, and it ain't anything I did, because I don't know, to be honest with you, that I could be that if it were me. To see your child really, you know, display that and be genuine about that. And you know your children are genuine, and it's genuine, it's from his heart, and I will tell you, it convicts my soul, and it makes me want to be a better person, you know, and I'm just blessed. He's just always been that son that's just made me proud, and, you know, he was one of those kids that, when he grew up, that it didn't matter if he was, you parent differently. You have two children. One of them, you could threaten her all day long. It didn't matter. You know, she had to tell her how proud you were of doing the right thing. For him, it was, I just never want to make you sad or do anything to disappoint you. And it was genuine. And he's always been like that. So, you know, I'm proud of him. I'm thankful for him. He's been a gift since the day he was born. And he's going to continue to bless the world with that gift.
And bless the world with his music.
Yes.
Really,
absolutely.
really quick, we're gonna take a little break and come back because I want to talk about your CD. So we have a couple of more artists that we're gonna play right now, and we'll